first of all, I'm not saying Jay is not dope. Let's make sure that's clear. He is nasty with the bars. I 100% understand that. But I think right now, today, if you put a mic and put Jay-Z and Black Thought on that mic to go at it bar-wise, fuck a song, fuck your albums, spit right now what you got, Jay-Z will be demolished.
I think Jay-Z would relish the opportunity to prove people wrong, too. And I cite the Jay Electronica album as proof.
Hey, Swan, what do you say about that?
Demolish, making it seem like he will like get destroyed by a guy who has been in the game for like almost 40 years and like this double on time.
Maybe demolish is too big of a word. Maybe demolish is too harsh. I apologize. I think he would lose. It would not be a clear loss, but it definitely would be okay, sorry, Jay. He got you.
What would he? I got a question though. What would he lose on? What would the judge like? What is the battle being judged on? If they go head up, he's going to lose. And you really believe that
it's bars? It's just bars. Like how it's all to be honest with you, it will all be opinion based. I guess it would matter who the judges were, to be honest with you. But I think if you were to pick 10 random people off the street from 10 different countries that all understood English and put them in a room and say, here go Black Thought rap, here go Jay-Z rap, 3 rounds, my opinion, they're going to pick Black Thought. Not saying Jay-Z didn't hold his own. Not saying Jay-Z didn't do his damn thing. But I think content, lyrically, vocally, runs, just on double entendres, metaphors, all of that within being a lyricist, he would lose. Not badly, but he would lose.
Well, I remember Black Thought.
I think Black Thought's sword is more sharper right now than Jay-Z.
I remember when Black Thought was on the cypher with Eminem and Mos Def, and it seemed like by the consensus that Eminem got the better of that battle with everybody that was there, the better of that cypher.
And that's bullshit. So niggas is deaf.
But it's not even that. It's like literally like Slangston said. A lot of Black Thought raps just be raps. Like they go nowhere. And that's but again, it's also like you said, opinion. So it's about who's judging. Slangston said that he doesn't care about content matter. I totally care about content matter. You can't be on my top list without content matter. With
variety of content.
It has. Yeah, I need to see all of that. I want to know a part of that. So all of my favorite artists are all of the most sensitive people in the game. Literally, they're all the ones that cry on their records, basically. And I want to hear that, but I want it to be put with lyrical content. I want it to be put out there.
You said all of the Roots albums. Hold up. You said on all of the Roots albums, Black Thought has not given you subject or content where he stayed on one topic.
He has.
If you want to go off of his freestyle, then yeah, I get you, because his freestyle was all over the place, which it did make sense though. But it's all over the place.
Albums, the songwriting is actually really diverse.
It hasn't been consistent. So again, like how you said, you think if you put Jay in front of a band or this, that, and that. Well, you take Jay out of Marcy and he grew up in Philly. Does he become a different Jay-Z? I mean, that's like if you change everybody's predicament, we might not get none of them. If you take Black Thought from the Roots.
I'm talking about musically. I ain't talking about like surrounding wise.
Musically, the consensus would have already had Black Thought bring an album through, right? Solo album. So if you take Black Thought from the Roots, what producer do you put him with for an album that you think you're going to get a good album?
Primo and Just Blaze.
Yeah.
No idea. Not. I'm talking about in his prime. I don't know about what it would be like now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Maybe Primo can still work for anybody now for those type of artists, even for a Jay-Z, a Nas, or a Black Thought. I think a DJ Premier, Ninth Wonder type of production would still, they would rhyme with a certain type of topics.
If we give Jay that same, all right. Let's put that as a battle. We give Jay and Black Thought the exact same producers to go in the studio with. Who comes out with the best project?
Of course, Jay-Z.
It still becomes opinion. I won't say it's just a course. It becomes over the crowd of the people who are listening.
Black never really switched his flow like that throughout his career, honestly. His flow has always been the same. Like
a lot of artists' flow has always been the same. I don't think that your flow being the same, if it ain't broke, why fix it?
But
I think his flow is improved based off of day one.
Another person like a young Chris.
He'll switch up. He'll be fast. He'll do mid flows. He'll do double entendres. Black Thought is
that double entendre thing. That's so overrated.
Hold up. First of all, any of y'all heard the last 3 projects Black Thought dropped that's on Spotify right now?
Huh?
Have any of y'all heard the last? And of course, we were not talking about Notoriety, Famous.
Not only have
I
heard those
3 projects, projects right now, if not more, on Spotify, and they do have songs, they do have content, they do contain what he says one subject matter, and all of them are lyrically assassinating, and for the culture.
Not only have I heard all of them, I heard the Danger Mouse joint already. And so, I would say with Thought, over the last, 5 to 7 years, he's actually advanced in the areas that most people used to always criticize him for, in songwriting and in content and all of that. But a lot of people say, content is king, except when it comes to skill, it gets superseded. And so don't get me wrong, I think this would be an incredible battle. And I think it would possibly even go down to the wire, but I think Jay-Z would relish in the opportunity to prove people wrong in such an emphatic way that it would come off similar to the Murder Mook and Lux battle, where people would be expecting it to go one way for one person, and Jay-Z would play that Murder Mook role and relish in the opportunity to do all the things people say he couldn't do in that setting, and he has the skills to do it. Have you heard that Jay Electronica album? He pretty much outrhymed the second coming of lyricalness on his own album on damn near every single song.
That was Electronica's most unmotivated, unambitious motherfucker in hip hop history too. Jay-Z had to drag him out to make that album just to put the shit out. It's probably never gonna come out unless Jay-Z not doing it.
This is facts. But he would do that kind of thing, but even more in the battle against that. He'd have to. Let's not get wrong.
So I want to say this, in 2 seconds. Let me just say this. I think that sometimes we, as good as Black Thought is, in the way that he constructs his rhymes, the techniques and how he puts his shit together, it's on a very high level. But people assume that just because you're rhyming, you're wordy, that you're more lyrical than someone who's not. And Jay-Z is not as worthy, but he says more with less. More than anybody I think I've ever heard. That's one of the things I think is brilliant, about Jay-Z. Both of these are great.
You know what? I'm not trying to solve nobody's intelligence, but it must be the fact that what Black Thought is saying is going over a lot of y'all fucking heads. I'm being honest. There's bars within bars, and there's terms and that if you ain't studying, you ain't picking up. And I'll be real with you. He's very mixed with.
That is the worst. The worst rebuttal. I hate that shit. I hate maybe I ain't smart enough. It's going over. This nigga not doing rocket science on songs. Niggas be acting like people doing rocket science in songs. No, it's just because I don't want to hear the content does not mean the content is higher than the level of my.
I'm not saying that's not what's happening, but sometimes it's an illusion as well. Sometimes it's a lot of lyrical gymnastics, and it's not a lot being said. And sometimes he's putting references and stuff in there that you got to read. But what also happens is sometimes Jay-Z goes way over people's head, and they just assume he's not, and they never even reach for it.
I get that because of the simplicity of his content. Sometimes you'll miss the double entendres in the metaphors. I agree. Yeah.
Oh, y'all is loving the double entendre word.
Some of those.
That's a skill that's rarely used. It's a skill that your 85er does not catch 9 times out of 10. They're not even paying attention to certain ways, doubles, triples. There's some shit that go down that people to the day is still discovering hip hop raps. And some people don't even know what a fucking entendre is. If you were to go on the road, go outside right now, anywhere in your city, in your hood, and walk to 15 people and ask them, do you know what double entendre is?
Even beyond the entendre, though, he popularized the one-word punchline that all of the younger MCs were doing in the last 10 years. He was the first one to really start doing that in a popular way with the one-word punchlines. His complex simplicity is often underrated. Now, what I will say, I emphatically disagree with everyone about either one of them being the greatest of all time.
Wait a minute.
Jay-Z's not the greatest of all time.
Before we go there, don't make it seem like Black Thought doesn't have any depth in his rhymes, though, in the context of his couplets.
No, I think we're trying to make it seem like don't act like he's giving out his rocket science on beats. Like, you know, a lot of times, and I think
no, I'm not saying it's rocket science.
I think
and I didn't mean to hope I took that any kind of way. It's that.
Don't worry.
Sometimes it's archaeology, though.
Flankston called us stupid as well. Maybe we's too dumb to get it. It's okay. Listen, I totally get what y'all saying, but I think you said it the best when you said many times underground is considered to be the greatest just because it's underground. And many times a person that listens to underground considers anything mainstream not to be as great because they're not underground. You know, so because you don't move into certain circuits. But I've been in many of underground scenes from Philly to Baltimore to New York, DC. I've been inside these crowds. Everybody there is not nice.
But it's like, the opposite truth.
It's some niggas that just could not make it.
And I agree with you.
Listen, one second. That's same on both sides.
Isn't it true that a lot of people just consider because someone's more popular and mainstream that they're automatically better than someone that doesn't get that marketing push?
No, because
not at all.
No, because I mean everybody knows it. I mean, listen, everybody knows that it's somebody that could beat Kobe Bryant out here that never made it to the league.
I don't know. I don't believe that.
It is. Jay-Z even said it with Jay-Z even said it.
No. You gotta. That's a totally different conversation. Kobe, Jordan.
Y'all must ain't seen these fucking record games.
I don't think those guys exist. Because if they existed, they would be in the NBA.
You ever been to one of those record games back in the day?
To say what?
Yeah, Kobe went there too. Very short work of them.
Kobe
made them look quite pedestrian.
Yeah. You and one guys can't compete on, and one guys cannot compete on the NBA level.
Are you sure about that, Kareem Ali?
Only Rafael Austin was the one that made it. They don't have the basketball IQ. They don't take care of their bodies on the same level. They don't train that way, and they can't fit into the context of a system and play that way. They can play one-on-one and shit like that on the playground, but all that ball handling shit is not going to work on the NBA level. It's not. Facts. But that's a whole different conversation.
I look at it like this.
I get your point.
I think that people know that it exists. Of course, Jay-Z has a bigger push than what you're going to get from an underground artist who might be very, very good. So
way bigger.
Are you making it seem like Jay-Z can rap better than everybody? He just rhymes better than everybody that ever rapped. I don't agree with that. I think he's one of the greatest of all time.
When we're talking about GOAT, though, we're not talking. All right, so when we're talking about GOAT, for instance, Tupac is my GOAT for music, right? Biggie will wrap a fucking circle around Tupac.
That's not what we're talking about, though. We're talking about who raps better. I didn't say
no.
This is not a
you
GOAT
said
conversation.
Greatest. You said greatest.
Oh, no, I said who's better between Jay-Z or Black Thought. Greatness
right, and I told you who's better.
Of course, Jay-Z is greater.
No, then we went on the GOAT, and Flankster said that he didn't feel none of them was the GOAT.
Well, yes, you did say that, but that wasn't the premise of this conversation.
No, the premise of the conversation is Jay-Z can beat.
Listen, Tislam said that Black Thought was the greatest of all time, but and by saying that, because many people think that Jay-Z is the greatest, can Black Thought and Jay-Z, if they were rapping against each other, who's actually the better MC based on skills?
If I could contribute a thought, no pun intended, to paraphrase fellow DMV MC Substantial, art is subjective, only techniques have guidelines. And, everyone's always going to have their bias based off of their own opinions, their own experiences, and what they prefer. But in terms of, the masses being like, one thing is better because of it being more exposed, there are anomalies, but that is not true. And where the hip hop audience will disagree. And I will cite when Ambrosia for Heads emphatically bit Kareem Ali's idea and started doing the one-on-one March Madness style matchups on Facebook. MF Doom defeated Jay-Z. Doom got more votes than Jay-Z in the Final Four. And so sometimes the people are paying attention to certain categories, and it's not always what we think it is. And I think that in the bias of Black Thought's really lyrical, Jay-Z isn't deemed as being so, Jay-Z will expose that bias and attack it emphatically in a one-on-one battle. And I think it would be really good. It would be not lopsided at all. But I think at the end of the day,
not at all.
He'd probably win. For all the reasons we think he wouldn't. And I disagree with everyone about either of them being the greatest of all time. The greatest of all time has a haircut like Kareem Ali and looks something like this. But that might be a different.
William Griffin the Great.
Exactly.
I would agree with
now,
that. Actually,
I want to say one last thing though.